Imagine having the power to influence others with your energy, strengthen your mind against manipulation, and shield your soul from negative forces. This isn't just about self-defense, it's about mastering the art of living energetically free and unshakably strong. In this video, we explore the profound teachings of Swami Panchadasi from chapters 8 to 10 of the Human Aura. First, we reveal the secrets of auric magnetism, a force that empowers you to heal and inspire others. Then we dive into the methods of aura development, where you can cultivate energy that attracts positivity and shapes your destiny. Finally, we uncover the ultimate shield, the protective aura, a powerful tool to guard against physical, emotional, and psychic harm. Whether you seek personal transformation or spiritual empowerment, these ancient techniques hold the key to practical strength and inner peace. Let's begin this transformative journey.
Chapter 8. Auric Magnetism. The phenomenon of human magnetism is too well recognized by the general public to require argument at this time. Let the scientists dispute about it as much as they please. Down in the heart of nearly all of the plain people of the race is the conviction that there is such a thing. The occultists, of course, are quite familiar with the wonderful manifestations of this great natural force and with its effect upon the minds and bodies of members of the race, and can afford to smile at the attempts of some of the narrow minds in the colleges to poo-poo the matter. But the average person is not familiar with the relation of this human magnetism to the human aura. I think that the student should familiarize himself with this fundamental relation in order to reason correctly on the subject of human magnetism. Here is the fundamental fact in a nutshell: the human aura is the great storehouse, or reservoir, of human magnetism, and is the source of all human magnetism that is projected by the individual toward other individuals. Just how human magnetism is generated is, of course, a far deeper matter, but it is enough for our purpose at this time to explain the fact of its storage and transmission. In cases of magnetic healing, etc., the matter is comparatively simple. In such instances, the healer, by an effort of the will, sometimes unconsciously applied, projects a supply of his pranic aura vibrations into the body of his patient, by way of the nervous system of the patient, and also by means of what may be called the induction of the aura itself. The mere presence of a person strongly charged with prana is often enough to cause an overflow into the aura of other persons, with a resulting feeling of new strength and energy. By the use of the hands of the healer, a heightened effect is produced by reason of certain properties inherent in the nervous system of both healer and patient. There is even a flow of etheric substance from the aura of the healer to that of the patient, in cases where the vitality of the latter is very low. Many a healer has actually and literally pumped his life force and etheric substance into the body of his patient, when the latter was sinking into the weakness which precedes death, and has by so doing been able to bring him back to life and strength. This is practically akin to the transfusion of blood, except that it is on the psychic plane instead of the physical. But the work of the magnetic healer does not stop here, if he be well informed regarding his science. The educated healer, realizing the potent effect of mental states upon physical conditions of mental vibrations upon the physical nerve centers and organs of the body, endeavors to arouse the proper mental vibrations in the mind of his patient. Ordinarily, he does this merely by holding in his mind the corresponding desired mental state, and thus arousing similar vibrations in the mind of the patient. This of itself is a powerful weapon of healing, and constitutes the essence of mental healing as usually practiced. But there is a possible improvement even upon this, as we shall see in a moment. The advanced occultist, realizing the law of action and reaction in the matter of the auric colors, turns the same to account in healing work. As follows: he not only holds in his mind the strong feeling and thought which he wishes to transmit to the patient, but fix this in your mind, he also pictures in his imagination the particular kind of color which corresponds with the feeling or thought in question. A moment's thought will show you that by this course he practically multiplies the effect. Not only do his own thought vibrations, one, set up corresponding vibrations in the mind of the patient by the laws of thought transference, but two, his thought of the certain colors will set up corresponding vibrations not only in his own aura, and thence be to that of the patient, but will also, three, act directly upon the aura of the patient and reproduce the colors there, which four in turn will arouse corresponding vibrations in the mind of the patient by the law of reaction. The above may sound a little complicated at first reading, but a little analysis will show you that it is really quite a simple process, acting strictly along the lines of action and reaction, which law has been explained to you in preceding chapters of this book. The vibrations rebound from mind to aura and from aura to mind in the patient, something like a billiard ball flying from one side of the table to another, or a tennis ball flying between the two raquettes over the net. The principle herein mentioned may be employed as well in what is called absent treatment, as in treatments where the patient is present. By the laws of thought transference, not only the thought but also the mental image of the appropriate astral color is transmitted over space, and then, impinging on the mind of the patient, is transmitted into helpful and health-giving vibrations in his mind. A healer of any school of mental or spiritual healing will find this plan very helpful to him in giving absent as well as present treatments. I recommend it from years of personal experience, as well as that of other advanced occultists. Of course, the fact that the ordinary healer is not able to distinguish the finer shades of astral color, by reason of his not having actually perceived them manifested in the aura, renders his employment of this method efficacious than that of the developed and trained occultist. But nevertheless, he will find that from the knowledge of the auric or astral colors given in this little book, he will be able to obtain quite satisfactory and marked results in his practice. The following table, committed to memory, will be of help to him in the matter of employing the mental image of the auric colors in his healing work. Table of healing colors. Nervous system. Cooling and soothing shades of violet, lavender, etc. Resting and invigorating effect grass greens. Inspiring and illuminating medium yellows and orange. Stimulating and exciting reds bright. Blood and organs. Cooling and soothing clear dark blues. Resting and invigorating grass greens. Inspiring and illuminating orange yellows. Stimulating and exciting bright reds. The following additional suggestions will be found helpful to the healer in cases of impaired physical vitality, also chilliness, lack of bodily warmth, etc. Bright, warm reds are indicated. And in cases of feverishness, overheated blood, excessive blood pressure, inflammation, etc., blue is indicated. Red has a tendency to produce renewed and more active heart action, while violets and lavenders tend to slow down the too rapid beating of the heart. A nervous, unstrung patient may be treated by bathing her mentally in a flood of violet or lavender auric color, while a tired, used-up, fatigued person may be invigorated by flooding him with bright reds, followed by bright, rich yellows, finishing the treatment with a steady flow of warm orange color. And to those who are sufficiently advanced in occult philosophy, I would say that they should remember the significance of the great white light and accordingly conclude their treatment by an effort to indicate an approach to that clear, pure white color in the aura mentally, of course. This will leave the patient in an inspired, exalted, illuminated state of mind and soul, which will be of great benefit to him and will also have the effect of reinvigorating the healer by cosmic energy or para prana. Everything that has been said in this chapter regarding the use of color in magnetic treatments is equally applicable to cases of self-healing or self-treatment. Let the patient follow the directions above given for the healer, and then turn the healing current or thought inward, and the result will be the same as if he were treating another. The individual will soon find that certain colors fit his requirements better than others, in which case let him follow such experience in preference to general rules, for the intuition generally is the safest guide in such cases. However, it will be found that the individual experience will usually agree with the tables given above, with slight personal variations. Chapter 9. Developing the aura. When it is remembered that the aura of the individual affects and influences other persons with whom he comes in contact, and is in fact an important part of his personality, it will be seen that it is important that the individual take pains to develop his aura in the direction of desirable qualities, and to neutralize and weed out undesirable ones. This becomes doubly true when it is also remembered that, according to the law of action and reaction, the auric vibrations react upon the mind of the individual, thus intensifying and adding fuel to the original mental states which called them forth. From any point of view, it is seen to be an important part of self-development and character building, to develop the aura according to scientific occult principles. In this work of aura development, there is found to be two correlated phases, namely one, the direct work of flooding the aura with the best vibrations by means of holding in the mind clear, distinct and repeated mental pictures of desirable ideas and feelings. And two, the added effect of mental images of the colors corresponding to the ideas and feelings which are deemed desirable and worthy of development. The first of the above-mentioned phases is probably far more familiar to the average student than is the second. This from the fact that the average student is apt to be more or less familiar with the teachings of the numerous schools or cults which agree in the axiom that holding the thought tends to develop the mind of the individual along the particular lines of such thought. This is a correct psychological principle. For that matter, even when those practicing it do not fully understand the underlying facts. Mental faculties, like physical muscles, tend to develop by exercise and use, and any faculty may be developed and cultivated in this way. Another teaching of these same schools is that the character of the thoughts so held by the individual affects other persons with whom he comes in contact, and in a way attracts to him objective things, persons, and circumstances in harmony with such thoughts. This also is in accordance with the best occult teaching from which, of course, it was originally derived. I heartily endorse the facts of these teachings and pronounce them fundamentally correct. And in this connection, I may say that every healer may apply his own methods, plus this teaching regarding the aura, and thus obtain greatly increased results. By the faithful, persevering, holding in mind of certain ideas and feelings, the individual may flood his aura with the vibrations and colors of such ideas and feelings, and thus charge it with auric energy and power. By so doing, he gains the benefit of the reaction upon his own mind, and also secures the advantage of the effect thereof upon other persons with whom he comes in contact. In this way, he not only builds up his individual character along desirable lines, but at the same time develops a strong, positive, attractive personality which affects others with whom he comes in contact. I do not consider it necessary to go into details here regarding this phase of holding the thought for, as I have said, the average student is already familiar with the rules regarding the same. In a nutshell, however, I will say that each individual is largely the result of the thoughts he has manifested and the feelings which he has harbored. Therefore, the rule is to manifest and exercise the faculties you would develop and inhibit or refrain from manifesting the ones you would restrain or control. Again, to restrain an undesirable faculty, develop and exercise its opposite, kill out the negatives by developing the positives. The mind produces thought, and yet it tends to grow from the particular portion of its own product which you may choose to feed to it, for it not only creates thought, but also feeds upon it. So finally, let it produce the best kind of thought for you and then throw that back into the hopper, for it will use it to grind out more of the same kind and grow strong in so doing. That is the whole thing in a nutshell. The second phase of aura development as above classified, however, is not likely to be familiar to the average student, for the reason that it is not known outside of advanced occult circles, and very little has been allowed to be taught regarding it. But the very reticence regarding it is a proof of its importance, and I strongly advise my students to give to it the attention and practice that its importance merits. The practice thereof, however, is extremely simple, and the principle of the practice, moreover, is based solely upon the facts of the relation of color and mental states, as shown in the astral auric colors, as fully explained in the preceding chapters of this book. In order to intelligently practice the development of the aura by means of flooding or charging it with the vibrations of psychic colors, it is first necessary that the student be thoroughly familiar with the scale of colors related to each set of mental states or emotional feelings. This scale and its key is found in a number of places in the preceding chapters. The student should turn back the pages of this book and then carefully read and restudy every word which has been said about the relation of mental states and auric colors. He should know the mental correspondence of the shades of red, yellow, and blue so thoroughly that the thought of one will bring the idea of the other. He should be able to think of the corresponding group of colors the moment he thinks of any particular mental state. He should be thoroughly familiar with the physical, mental, and spiritual effect of any of the colors, and should, moreover, test himself psychically for the individual effects of certain colors upon himself. He should enter into the study with interest and earnestness, and then by keeping his eyes and ears open, he will perceive interesting facts concerning the subject on every side in his daily work and life. He will perceive many proofs of the principle and will soon amass a stock of experiences illustrating each color and its corresponding mental state. He will be richly repaid for the work of such study, which in fact will soon grow to be more like pleasure than like work. Having mastered this phase of the subject, the student should give himself a thorough, honest self-examination and mental analysis. He should write down a chart of his strong points and his weak ones. He should check off the traits which should be developed and those which should be restrained. He should determine whether he needs development along physical, mental, and spiritual lines, and in what degree. Having made this chart of himself, he should then apply the principles of charging the aura with the color vibrations indicated by his self-diagnosis and prescription. The last stage is quite simple, once one has acquired the general idea back of it. It consists simply in forming as clear a mental image as possible of the color or colors desired, and then projecting the vibrations into the aura by the simple effort of the will. This does not mean that one needs to clench the fist or frown the brow. In willing in the occult sense may be said to consist of a command, leaving the rest to the mechanism of the will and mind. They take away the obstacle of doubt and fear, then the royal command performs the work of setting the will into operation. This, by the way, is an important occult secret of wide application. Try to master its all-important significance. The mental imaging of colors may be materially aided by concentration upon physical material of the right color. By concentrating the attention and vision upon a red flower, for instance, or upon a bit of green leaf. In another instance, one may be able to form a clear, positive mental image of that particular color. This, accompanied by the willing and demand that the vibrations of this color shall charge the aura, will be found to accomplish the result. Have something around you showing the desirable colors, and your attention will almost instinctively take up the impression thereof, even though you may be thinking of or doing something else. Live as much as possible in the idea and presence of the desirable color, and you will get the habit of setting up the mental image and vibration thereof. A little practice and experience will soon give you the idea and enable you to get the best results. Patience, perseverance, and sustained earnest interest, that is the key of success. Chapter 10. The Protective Aura. Among the very oldest of the teachings of occultism, we find instructions regarding the building up and maintenance of the protective aura of the individual, whereby he renders himself immune to undesirable physical, mental, psychic, or spiritual influences. So important is this teaching that it is to be regretted that there has not been more said on the subject by some of the writers of recent years. The trouble with many of these recent writers is that they seem to wish to close their eyes to the unpleasant facts of life and to gaze only upon the pleasant ones. But this is a mistake, for ignorance has never been a virtue, and to shut one's eyes to unpleasant facts does not always result in destroying them. I consider any teaching unfinished and inadequate which does not include instruction along protective lines. Physical auric protection consists in charging the aura with vital magnetism and color, which will tend to ward off not only the physical contagion of ill persons, but what is often still more important, the contagion of their mind and feelings. The student who has really studied the preceding chapters will at once realize that this protection is afforded by filling the aura with the vibrations of health and physical strength by means of the mental imaging of the life-preserving reds, and the exercise of the mind in the direction of thought of strength and power. These two things will tend to greatly increase the resistive aura of anyone and enable him to throw off disease influences which affect others. The aura of the successful physician and healer in the presence of disease will invariably show the presence of the bright, positive red in the aura, accompanied by the mental vibrations of strength, power, and confidence, and the absence of fear. This, in connection with the auric circle, which shall be described presently, will be of great value to healers, physicians, nurses, etc., as well as to those who are brought into intimate contact with sick persons. Of practically the same degree of importance is the charging of the aura with the vibrations of mental protection, viz., the vibrations of orange, yellow, and similar colors. These are the colors of intellect, you will remember. And when the aura is charged and flooded with them, it acts as a protection against the efforts of others to convince one against his will by sophistical arguments, plausible reasoning, fallacious illustrations, etc. It gives to one a sort of mental illumination, quickening the perceptive faculties, and brightening up the reasoning and judging powers, and finally giving a sharp edge to the powers of repartee and answer. If you will assume the right positive mental attitude and will flood your aura with the vibrations of the mental orange-yellow, the mental efforts of other persons will rebound from your aura, or, to use another figure of speech, will slip from it like water from the back of the proverbial duck. It is well to carry the mental image of your head being surrounded by a golden aura, or halo. At such times, this will be found especially efficacious as a protective helmet when you are assaulted by the intellect or arguments of others. And again, there is a third form of protective aura, namely protection of one's emotional nature, and this is highly important when one remembers how frequently we are moved to action by our emotions rather than by our intellect or reason. And to guard one's emotions is to guard one's very inmost soul, so to speak. If we can protect our feeling and emotional side, we will be able to use our reasoning powers and intellect far more effectively, as all know by experience. What color should we use in this form of auric protection? Can anyone be in doubt here if he has read the preceding chapters? What is the emotional protective color? Why, blue, of course. Blue controls this part of the mind or soul, and by raising ourselves into the vibrations of positive blue, we leave behind us the lower emotions and feelings and are transported into the higher realms of the soul, where these low vibrations and influences cannot follow us. In the same way, the blue-colored aura will act as an armor to protect us from the contagion of the low passions and feelings of others. If you are subjected to evil influences or contagion of those harboring low emotions and desires, you will do well to acquire the art of flooding your aura with the positive blue tints. Make a study of bright, clear blues, and you will instinctively select the one best suited for your needs. Nature gives us this instinctive knowledge, if we will but seek for it and then apply it when found. The aura of great moral teachers, great priests and preachers, advanced occultists, in fact, all men of lofty ideals working among those lower on the moral scale, are always found to be charged with a beautiful clear blue, which acts as a protection to them when they are unduly exposed to moral or emotional contagion. Ignorance of the occult laws have caused the downfall of many a great moral teacher who could have protected himself in this way, in times of strong attack of low vibrations, had he but known the truth. The individual who knows this law and who applies it is rendered absolutely immune from evil contagion on the emotional plane of being, the Great Auric Circle. But no occult instruction on this subject would be complete without a reference to the Great Auric Circle of Protection, which is a shelter to the soul, mind, and body against outside psychic influences directed consciously or unconsciously against the individual. In these days of widespread, though imperfect, knowledge of psychic phenomena, it is especially important that one should be informed as to this great shield of protection. Omitting all reference to the philosophy underlying it, it may be said that this auric circle is formed by making the mental image, accompanied by the demand of will, of the aura being surrounded by a great band of pure, clear white light. A little perseverance will enable you to create this on the astral plane, and though unless you have the astral vision, you cannot see it actually, yet you will actually feel its protective presence, so that you will know that it is there guarding you. This white auric circle will be an effective and infallible armor against all forms of psychic attack or influence, no matter from whom it may emanate, or whether directed consciously or unconsciously. It is a perfect and absolute protection, and the knowledge of its protective power should be sufficient to drive fear from the heart of all who have dreaded psychic influence, malicious animal magnetism, so-called, or anything else of the kind, by whatever name known. It is also a protection against psychic vampirism, or draining of magnetic strength. The auric circle is of course really egg-shaped or oval, for it fringes the aura as the shell cases the egg. See yourself mentally as surrounded by this great white auric circle of protection, and let the idea sink into your consciousness. Realize its power over the influences from outside and rejoice in the immunity it gives you. The auric circle, however, will admit any outside impressions that you really desire to come to you, while shutting out the others. That is, with this exception, that if your inner soul recognizes that some of these desired influences and impressions are apt to harm you, though your reason and feeling know it not, then will such impressions be denied admittance. For the white light is the radiation of spirit, which is higher than ordinary mind, emotion, or body, and is master of all. And its power, even though we can but imperfectly represent it, even mentally, is such that before its energy and in its presence in the aura, all lower vibrations are neutralized and disintegrated. The highest and deepest occult teaching is that the white light must never be used for purpose of attack or personal gain, but that it may properly be used by anyone at any time to protect against outside psychic influences against which the soul protests. It is the armor of the soul, and may well be employed whenever or wherever the need arises. Throughout the pages of this little book have been scattered crumbs of teaching other than those concerning the aura alone. Those for whom these are intended will recognize and appropriate them, the others will not see them, and will pass them by. One attracts his own to him. Much seed must fall on waste places, in order that here and there a grain will find lodgment and rich soil awaiting its coming. True occult knowledge is practical power and strength. Beware of prostituting the higher teachings for selfish ends and ignoble purposes. To guard and preserve your own will is right. To seek to impose your will upon that of another is wrong. Passive resistance is often the strongest form of resistance. This is quite different from non-resistance. The end.
Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the mysteries of the human aura, its magnetism, and its power of protection. We've explored how to harness auric energy to heal, inspire, and shield ourselves from negativity. But this is only part of the story. If you found these chapters fascinating, I encourage you to go back and watch the earlier ones. In chapters 1 through 4, we unravel the foundations of the aura, what it is, how it radiates prana, and how astral colors reveal your emotional and spiritual state. Chapters 5 through 7 take us deeper, uncovering the kaleidoscopic nature of the aura, the creation of thought forms, and the profound influence of colors on the mind and body. Each chapter builds on the last, offering powerful tools for understanding and mastering the unseen forces of your life. Don't stop here. Continue exploring this ancient wisdom and unlock the practical power and strength that lies within you. Until next time, may your aura radiate with positivity and purpose. Thank you for watching.